Oh, this is the duffel bag, by the way. This is my own duffel bag that I had.
Okay, step over there with that. Let's get that on the...
This is the duffel bag that was issued to me when I went overseas. It had the name, serial number, and this is. It was issued when I was at the camp to go overseas.
Okay.
And once I got in the infantry, I never saw it till the end of the war. It came back.
Okay.
Because there was no place that you couldn't carry it in the front line.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll show you some other things here. So the medical kit that I carried, it's not the same one because mine was destroyed, but it'll give you an idea what it was like. And you hooked it right up. It was hooked on, there was a place here to hook it onto your belt.
Your belt,
right here,
yeah.
like that. That's how I used to carry it.
Okay.
All right. Now, I'll show you the one that I got from that German medic.
Oh, the one that you, yes.
Yeah. Look at the difference.
Oh, sit down and show me that one. That's awesome.
Look at that.
Back up
And it opened up like this. And inside it had a lot of German medical equipment and everything written in German right there.
Okay, I was going to say there is writing there, yes. Wow.
Isn't that something? And I'll show you what else I found there. I found the German helmet.
Oh my goodness.
I brought that home too.
Here, have a sit down, Ben, and
Okay.
I'll come in on
All
it.
right, good.
Okay, turn it there. Let's see that swastika on the right side there. Wow.
See all right?
Yeah.
Now the American helmets today are this shape. By the way.
Yes, I noticed it. Interesting that the
Because
configuration.
It gave you more protection than the ones that we had.
Right.
Now, I'll show you the one similar to the one that I wore. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Like this. Ours consisted. This is not the same one I have, but it'll give you an idea what it was like.
Right.
Now ours consisted of two parts: a liner.
You had a liner,
which
right?
is like this, very light.
Yeah.
And then the metal part here.
Now, was that your liner there, or just a?
No, this is
because it's got the Thunderbird on it.
I put it on there, but
this
is not the one that I have. And now this here, we use in the wintertime to heat up our food, our shaving equipment, and we also use it for whatever we needed.
Whatever.
Because there was no bathrooms around anything.
You
around,
got
so
it.
you
Yeah.
use that too. But that was it.
Put that on, please,
Sure.
if you would, Ben,
Yeah.
just for.
Yeah.
God.
And this is basically how you wear it.
Excellent.
Except my Native American buddies didn't want to wear the helmet, so you'll see. I have pictures of them without the helmet.
Great shot, great shot. Okay. All right.
And luckily, in my outfit, we never had a gas mask. But this is a German gas mask container with a filter there. And this is, if you see pictures of the
They
German,
always have those
right?
hanging off.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
And I wasn't sure what those were.
That's for the gas mask.
Oh my goodness!
Look, and we never had anything like that. See that? Look.
See, they were sure they were going to be exposed to gas, so they all had those canisters.
Yes. Or maybe either that, or they maybe were going to use gas too.
Yeah, they had the thought.
Sure.
Yeah. Isn't that
something?
Interesting.
And let me show you a cigarette book here. This is the one book. This is one book here. It's called Adolf Hitler.
Okay.
And the pictures are phenomenal here. Look, it's just filled with pictures, you can see. You got all right?
Yes.
Look at this. All about, look.
So as you bought cigarettes, you got a
there's
photograph.
a story behind each picture.
Each picture.
And then you pasted it into the book.
Oh my goodness.
That's why they're called cigarette books. Now, by the way, very important, I want to tell you, all these artifacts that you see here are not at my home. I keep them at the State Armory. I have a buddy that picks up all these things takes it away, and then when I call him when I think I'm going to give a talk, and he'll bring it to me, then he takes it back to the State Armory, because I don't want to keep him in the house. I don't want any of this in my house here at all.
So are they there for people to look at or do research?
Just to
so
store
it's just to store them. Okay,
just
very
to protect
interesting.
Them,
Yes.
Yeah. See, yeah. Look at this.
Oh, look at that one. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Now let me show you. I want to show you the banner that I brought back. Okay.
Okay. Yes. This is a banner. Now tell me again where this came
banner
from.
that was hanging on the government building in Munich, Germany, where Hitler had an apartment. I didn't know it, but he had an apartment in that building.
Wow.
Now, that's why I don't keep these things at home. They're all at the State Armory. Everything, all these artifacts are kept at the State Armory. And these are the hooks by which it was hanging out the window.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing.
And this is what I show when I tell the kids. This is what Germany stood for from 1933 to 1945. Legalized murder of men, women, children, and babies. Legalized murder.
There's your.
This is the. Now I don't remember using this across. I don't even. But when I was in training, this is what we used to eat out of.
Okay.
Very similar to this.
Very, yeah, basic.
Basic.
Yes.
Very, very basic. You know. And now in Hartford, when the war started, we had civil defense.
Yeah.
Where I lived on New Park Avenue, we had air raid wardens, and my uncle was an air raid warden on New Park Avenue for the whole block.
Yeah.
And it's very heavy. It's very, he wore this at night. He walked around the block, and people had to draw their shades down.
Right.
Because we feared, and my father had a grocery store, so the light coming from there, he had to have shades in the windows so the light wouldn't shine into the night.
Yeah.
And not far from where I lived on New Park Avenue, right on the corner of Flatbush and New Park, we had anti-aircraft guns.
Oh my
for a
goodness.
short time, and then we had the big searchlights looking for airplanes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a pipe company there, and the Water Bureau used to have their pipes there, but there was room to put a look at that.
Wow.
And let me see what I got. And this is a hat similar to what I got married in.
Okay, that's what I want to see.
Oh, I know how to guys show you something. In May of when the war ended, in honor of General Eisenhower. Okay, let me show you something. I'll be right back.
Okay, we're now looking at Ben Cooper. Your rank, Ben, was what?
Corporal, T5.
Corporal.
T5 was
Okay.
technician 5th grade.
I'm going to back up.
Equal to a corporal.
He's standing here in his Eisenhower jacket and the Thunderbird logo.
Yep.
Looking as handsome as he did in 1945, right? Oh,
that's a few years older.
That's pretty special, man. That's pretty special. All right, looking good, looking wonderful.
Now this here, what you see here, if you were in combat and you were a rifleman, you would have a rifle with a blue background,
right,
showing that you were a combat infantryman. Okay, but I never carried a gun, so they issued us, which is similar to that, this carrying a litter. If you see it, it showed you were a combat medic.
Okay.
It's distinguished from just being a medic. This
combat
that's
medic, right? Yes, there's a difference. Yes.
Yeah. And these are. This is for 1 year overseas, 6 months each, and this is for 3 years in service.
Wow. I never knew those had meaning like that before on a uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
And of course I got the Good Conduct Medal, which is this one here. Wait, where is it? Yeah, that's the Good Conduct Medal. You get it if you're a good soldier, you know.
Okay.
And this one has the European Theater War that I was in with 2 battles. And this one is the Bronze Star.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Ben is showing me an item here.
That's the actual Star of David that the Frenchman gave to me when we were taken for a 3-day rest or a 4-day rest during the war.
And he was required to wear this, right?
Yeah, he was, but yes, all the Jewish people had to wear it on their clothing.
Wow.
From children all the way up, made no difference.
Yeah.
That was in France. See, in Germany it was called Jude, which means Yud, J-U-D. Then, let me just show you something. This is what I was talking about. This is the emblem that they had.
Yes, isn't that something?
Isn't that amazing?
That would go
and then they changed.
Then
they changed it to the Thunderbird. Yeah.
Wow.
And this is what I was telling you. They issued, being a medic, a combat medic, they issued this to us from the War Department, and it had your name, your serial number, and the date you were born, and your fingerprints, and you're supposed to show this to them. It was supposed to be from the Geneva Conference way back in 1929.
Okay, so there's a Geneva Convention item.
The Geneva Convention, that's right.
Protect you from...
supposed to, but more or less.
Yes.
Yeah. And of course, this is what... Where is it? This is one of my dog tags right here. And that's where I see it had your... You see that all right?
I'm going to come in close.
Sure, go ahead.
I don't get the actual text on it, but okay, that's your...
Yeah, and I had what is known as some Fed crosses. I had a mezuzah, which had a prayer in there for the Jewish people.
Okay.
And I also found this in that building, by the way. There were hundreds of these you could take. This showed that you're a member of the Nazi Party.
Oh, my goodness.
If you saw Schindler's List, that's what he wore at that time. But there were hundreds of them, and I just took one of them to carry home.
Oh, my. What a memento. Bittersweet.
Yeah, and this, they issued us this. If you didn't have a knife to open your your sea rations or something, they issued us a little can opener.
There you go. A little, I'm sure it did the
trick. Put it in, yeah.
Yes.
Of course it did, sure. Yeah. And
is that your armband there, the Red Cross?
Oh yes, and this is the band that was actually issued to me when I joined the medics. Yeah, and across, not here in the United States.
Right.
Yeah.
So you wear that all day?
That's all the time on my arm. Yep. Yep. Okay. That's part of my uniform. Yep.
This up. You stand there because this matches the picture that you just showed me.
Right. Exactly.
This is Ben carrying his bag.
Yeah, and my fatigue jacket. That you see in the picture.
You look just like you did in that picture. Yes, you did. Oh, 1945 all over again.
Yeah.
You look good, Ben. You look good. Excellent.
Oh, this is the wedding picture. Where there you are with my hat. This is up in Saco, Maine. Old Orchard Beach, Maine.
This is before you went overseas, right? This is
yes,
just the wedding.
Yes, that's the wedding. Yep,
Oh,
July the 14th. Yeah. This is the building that I was telling you about, where the government building. It's still there.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the pictures of the banners because I got this from a magazine, but this is where the banner was hanging from.
So this is in Munich.
In Munich, Germany.
The banner came.
Yeah, from that building there.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is the actual Liberty ship that I sailed on, the Walter E. Ranger, made in South Portland, Maine.
There you go.
And now, when I saw South Portland, I said, wow, my wife is from Saco, which is right there, you know? That's the actual Liberty ship. And we had a gun in front and a gun in back. I think they were what they call 3-inch guns, you know, one in front and one in back.
Held a lot of equipment.
Oh, yes. It could hold 500 troops or equipment, one or the other, you know? Oh, I didn't... So much I wanted to tell you. After taking you back to February 1945, after I met the little girls with the father, they took us to another town for our rest, for a couple-day rest, okay? Nearby.
Yeah.
And this was a small town in France called Menil-sur-Belvitte. Poor town, okay? But what you see here, what you see here is, this is the schoolhouse there. That's their school.
Right.
And this is one of my buddies. See how the no hat? This is me here. This is during our rest, okay?
Yeah.
And this is one of our 57mm anti-tank guns. Right there. Now, in this was a school. I was on the second floor, and I saw a man looking in the window. So I figured it must be on the ladder, you know?
Yeah.
But he wasn't. He wasn't on the ladder. It was, see if I have the picture here. I've got it on documentation. Wait a second. How come I don't have it here? Well, you'll see it. I have it on the other.
Okay.
The tallest man in the world, 8.5 feet tall.
You're kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
and he was there at this place here, and it wasn't on the ladder. He was just looking in the window. I couldn't believe it. And we talked to him, and on his arm he had an armband called the FFI.
So he was German?
No, French. This was French. Yeah. And he was with the FFI, which was the Free French Insurgents. Here, just let me show you something here.
Okay.
Watch this. This is the dirigible that I saw, the Hindenburg. See with the swastikas? I got this out of a magazine. This is when I came home on furlough back in '42, okay?
Okay.
First time, before I met my wife. This is, again, look at the old-time cars there. This was my wife. That's where I met. Yeah, copy, yeah. And this is our engagement party. I was a high-ranking PFC.
How special is that?
Yeah. And this is the Liberty ship you just saw, yeah. That's the Navy ship we went on.
Yeah.
This is the freight cars that we rode in France. This is when we were going through the towns. There's my medical kit. This is me here.
Yeah.
And my buddies here. This is, you can see my buddy's not wearing any helmets. This is me right here. This is during the break when there was no shooting going on.
Right.
And this is the three little girls.
Oh my God,
and this is the one that's 75. She's 75 years old now.
You still communicate with her.
Yeah, I'm still communicating with her.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. And this is the synagogue that's still standing there. It was built in 1875, I think, something like that. This is one of the other little girls. She moved to Israel and she invited me to the wedding of her son, but I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
This is what you see. This is the anti-tank gun. And now you'll see. Watch this. This is the tallest man in the world. Look.
Oh my goodness.
And on his armband it says FFI, Free French Insurgents. When the Nazis took over France, they formed groups to fight against the Nazis.
Yeah.
And so the Free French Insurgents.
Okay.
They went around destroying all kinds of materials that the Germans, when they took over France. This is the way we send V-mail, it's called. You fold it up. I forgot to tell you, but during the war, in Germany, we came across a small town, and there was one house in particular surrounded by barbed wire. Not the house up, but around the area,
Yeah.
And so we went through the barbed wire, we went to the house, and there was a man and a woman there. One was Jewish, one was not Jewish. One was a doctor, one was a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And we asked them how come they stayed there. Apparently they needed them in that town, okay? Yeah. They were elderly people. And the husband took us down the cellar, and he opened up a bottle of brandy, 5-star brandy, which he was waiting for the day of liberation, okay? Right. And so that's what that was. And he told me they had relatives in the United States. Well, during the war, they couldn't write to them. But I could. So I wrote a letter to them in Philadelphia telling them that I found their relatives. Great. And this was their answer to me. They thanked me for finding them.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, that's what that was. This is crossing the Rhine River. I took a picture when we crossed the Rhine River. This is behind us. The night before we went across the Rhine River, they had the little airplanes coming over with the incendiary bombs dropping on us to stop it. There were thousands of us, miles long, ready to cross the Rhine. So we did cross. When it started to get dusk, it started to get daylight a little bit, And that's when I lost my buddy, Tim Kane from Newington.
You said that,
He got hit by a sniper when we got near the shore, and he died as a result of that. Behind us, this is another German town. You see the building behind us? That was a shoe factory. And when we got into town, we found the building. We go inside, and there were Russian inmates there, prisoners.
Right.
Dressed, no shoes, but they're making shoes for the German army. And they didn't know who we were, and they kept working. I said, free, raus, go, you're out, you're free. Finally, they ran out, By that time, we were on our way to another.
That's a great picture with
and see, he no helmet, see that?
Yeah.
Look how I look like sad sack there,
Oh.
Just you can't. Oh, this is Dachau, 3 miles square. They had just given it. And these are the first day. I didn't. My captain gave me a whole set of these little pictures of Dachau because the Signal Corps took a lot of pictures. The pictures you see now were taken by part of our outfit.
Okay.
And the captain he gave me a whole set. These are first day of liberation. You see there. These are German guards that were killed. These are the soldiers from my outfit. These are the freight trains I was telling you about. Take a look.
Wow.
Look at this.
Oh my God.
Just lying there, unreal. Look, on the ground. Look, these are in the building next to the crematory, stacked like corkwood. You know, just ready to be cremated. Unbelievable. Look. These are the crematories are still going when our outfit liberated the camp. Can you believe it? And we had a newspaper, 45th Division. Dachau gives the answer to why we fought on. War ends. I had a lot of my buddies sign the paper. That's how I got in touch with them after the war. Mm-hmm. This is the German. I took a picture in Munich, one of the German planes, the jet planes. You know, we went to the Munich airport. This is me in Munich. This is me going to the airport. These are German prisoners being marched through the streets. I didn't have my camera for Goering, unfortunately. Oh, this is the building. I made these little here to show how they were hanging out the building.
Yes.
To show how they're hanging. Yeah. That's how they were hanging there.
Wow.
And this is me here getting ready to come home.
There you are.
And this is we came home on a ship called the Aquitania.
Oh, a big Air Force Decker.
Yes, it was a luxury ship, and they made it into a troop ship.
Yes.
There were 7,000 just from my outfit.
Oh, I'm sure.
And we came into New York Harbor. This is the New York Times telling us about coming home. And they had ships shooting water in the air, welcoming us home, you know. Yeah. And then they let us send a telegram to our loved ones. And I said, arrive safely, expect to see you soon. Don't attempt to contact or write to me. Love, T5 Ben Cooper.
Oh, nice. So nice.
And I took this picture. If you can imagine this, a big ship like this coming in sideways.
Yeah.
I mean, listing side. You know why? All of us were on one side of the ship. And they kept saying on the loudspeaker, please go back to the other side. We can't come into the harbor this way.
Right.
But once we went by the Statue of Liberty, then we all went back to normal.
Yeah.
And my wife came to New York later, and she met me. And this is at the Cafe Zanzibar, which was a popular place in New York. And we're having Hungarian goulash, and this was me here and my wife at that time.
Oh, wonderful.
And I was honorary Grand Marshal for 2004 for the Connecticut Veterans Day Parade, and we were celebrating here at the Bertucci's, I think it was. That was my wife at that time. Yep, that's it.
Oh, man.
Now, I got one other thing to show you, okay? We're getting there. We're getting near the something here. Oh, let me turn it this way. Take a look at the ship. All the fellows, when we came into New York Harbor, look, that big ship like that, they were all lined up climbing up there.
Oh, my God,
They couldn't wait to come home already, you know? These are more pictures of the ship on board the Aquitania.
Aquitania,
yeah. And there's another picture, Statue of Liberty. Now, let me tell you, during the war, I used to write to my wife, you know, send her mail to my folks. But somewhere along the line, I stopped writing because I used to see, being a medic, I see new replacements coming into the outfit. And when there was no shooting going on, there were times there was no shooting, they'd sit down and write a letter to their loved ones and say, well, I'm here somewhere. You couldn't say where you were, but you could somewhere in France, somewhere in Germany. And sometime the same day, a week later, they're gone. They were either killed or wounded, you know? So I became superstitious, and I said, I'm not going to write anymore to my wife or my parents because it might be my last letter. That's what I felt that way, you know? Absolutely. But I wrote one letter to my wife when the war ended. This is in Munich. I wanted her to know what I witnessed and what I saw. And I'm going to read it to you now, okay? Okay. What can I say, my darling, when words I cannot find to express my love for you, my beloved darling wife? And though we're miles apart, you are and have always been right here inside my lonely aching heart. as I sailed across the ocean blue and through the straits on a liberty to Italy, and there received with so much glee your inspirational letters which meant so much to me. And then to France, where I was given a job far different from the one I thought I would have found. Another fellow was doing his part till the fickle finger of fate had found his heart, and now I was to carry on. I prayed, my darling, that I may live to see mother and dad and you, my darling sweet. I pray that you and I may be one and have our own in our own home. I prayed each day in my own way, sometimes in foxholes in the rain, or covered with snow, oh so cold, or in a house where I'd feel a little safer from the snow and the rain and the cold, but most of all the hot shrapnel of bursting shells that knew no man, a father, an uncle, a brother, a cousin, an only son, one of a dozen. Catholic, Jew, Protestant, black, white, good, bad, carried a gun or a Red Cross armband. God, will this war ever end? Attack and attack did the infantry, right on into Germany, but never knowing from where or when, the enemy may try to strike back again and do the things that war is hated for. There were big towns and small towns, rivers and streams, roadblocks and trees, and so many things. The people seemed friendly, at least so it seemed. What was happening to Hitler's dream? We traveled in convoys for miles at a stretch, dusty and dirty and tired and wet, searching for Jerry's, another name for Nazis, and snipers, those rats. Houses were burning and cattle lie dead. Oops, be careful, they say there's mines up ahead. How could you hate such people as these, who gave you their eggs and beer from the kegs? Every minute of you could hear them say, "Nix Nazi," which means I'm not a Nazi. Oh, such nice people, I dare say. But then came the horror and cruelty beyond one's imagination could ponder upon. There was Dachau, Buchenwald, and more camps about, where civilization was simply wiped out. This was our answer to why we fought on, and how our hatred for the Germans was found. And as today I reminisce of all the boys we sure do miss, I cannot help but say a prayer for those who fell. May they rest in peace. Kohia, Keller, Kane, and Sales, and a prayer for those who live. Oh, darling, I don't feel any smarter for all the things I've seen and done. I just feel oh so lonesome for you, my dearest one and only one. And I hope and pray that someday I'll be sailing back across the ocean blue to you, to live and love as time goes by in our own home for 2 or 4 or more, and vanish the lonesomeness that's in my heart. For you, my sweetheart, my darling wife, till then, God bless you every day and night. Sweet dreams, sweetheart. I love you with all my heart. Your hubby, Ben, May 8th, 1945, Munich, Germany. That's the one letter I wrote to her.
Ben, you saved it all for the last letter.
Well,
the only letter, rather.
That's basically that's what I want to do.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, and
Piece of prose.
this is the V-mail that we wrote, and my buddy that was on the ship with me.
Yeah.
He's in the same outfit. I mean, that's how big the outfit was. You know,
Yeah.
You never knew from one mile to the next. I sent him in the V-mail, and they came back to him that he was missing in action, and he was a combat medic too, but they never found him.
Right.
He was missing in action. And what else is it? And when we came home, the governor from Connecticut sent reporters down to the ship to interview us, those from Connecticut.
Yeah.
And I have the little book, and in it, different fellows tell what they saw, what they witnessed. If you read it, you'll find that a lot of fellows that were not actually in the front line, they'll say, Italy was not that great, France was kind of dirty, Germany was beautiful, okay? This is what they witnessed, and this is what I had to say. Benjamin Cooper, 179th Infantry, West Hartford. The only thought I have on my mind right now is to get home, to be with my wife and my folks. As for the war, I'd rather not talk about it. And I didn't talk about it for 45 years.
Wow.
It was just clammed right up. And I think I covered just about everything. Yeah, this is the pic. We talked at Newington Middle School not too long ago. And this is what you see. On the screen in the back, the fellow gave me this picture because it was in the newspaper. This is the screen that you saw there. And there it is, and there I am on the stage with him.
Oh, how wonderful, how wonderful.
He took a picture of that.
Oh, Ben. Unbelievable. But I think the thing that makes me feel so good sitting here today is the fact that you're sharing this not only with me and the Veterans History Project, but young people, schools.
Yeah, they have to know.
Churches, synagogues, people.
Everywhere.
Yeah,
because they know so little about it, and as the years go by, it's even less. In fact, they're trying to change things around. You know, there are always people that change things around, you know. But I got to tell you, my wife and I had a wonderful marriage for 65 years.
Okay.
And in 2009, on July the 14th, we celebrated our 65th wedding anniversary. That was in July. In August, just a month later, 25th, she passed away. I was her caregiver for a year and a half. They were treating her for high anxiety. So what they do, I went to different psychiatrists, you know, for a few months, and they give her pills to see if she could calm down or whatever. It wasn't until a month before she passed away, my primary doctor said, you know what, get a CAT scan of her. We did, and it showed she had a brain tumor. And they were treating her for the wrong thing. And it was something that was inoperable. It was one of these horrible ones that had, like, octopus, you know.
Tentacles.
They could take some out, but it would grow back again.
Right.
And so I lost her in July the 25th. And I was really well, for 65 years, I was in the dumps. I really was. A little over a year ago, I met someone from the Holocaust Memorial at the state capitol here in Hartford. I forgot to go there, but there's a Jewish Federation for Greater Hartford, and there's one for the eastern part of Connecticut, okay? And this woman was part of the Federation eastern part, and they were looking for a liberator. They didn't care what kind of who liberated. They wanted a liberator from the camp because the Holocaust, they're made up of a lot of survivors. They wanted someone who liberated the camp.
Right.
So my name was given to them, and she had the name. And she looked for me. I was supposed to be at the meeting, and I forgot to mark in my book. But we got together since then, and we give talks together. Her name is Henny Simon. She's from Colchester, Connecticut. She had a farm with her husband. She lived in Hanover, Germany with her parents. And she was only 16 years old when she was taken away by Hitler in Germany to a ghetto, concentration camp, and a death march. And she survived. And she wrote a book, a spiral book about it. She wrote her own book. And she got detailed facts and everything, pictures in it. So we give talks together now for the past year.
Wonderful.
This year we've talked to 13 different schools all over the east part and in West Hartford, you know, all around. And the reception for the kids is phenomenal. The kids, I really feel, because her message is about perseverance. And we try to show what hatred did, what it can do, and what it will do. Hatred and bullying, those two things, very important. So this is our message to give across to them. And she's a wonderful person, very caring person. So we get along together great. We just hit it off, you know? And so it's revived me, and we look forward to going. That's where I'm going. She's being awarded tonight from the Federation for her help to children for 25 years. And so I'm going there tonight. She's going to get the award there for that.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and we just stopped talking just about a little over a month ago. I mean, after a while, you get exhausted, you know what I mean? But
these kids are hearing this from the people that were there.
Yes.
It's not. They're not reading it. They're not being told by someone
right.
who read it.
Yeah, and they can ask any question they want.
Absolutely.
You know, and I answer. If I don't know it, I'll tell them. I just don't know the answer. You know.
Sure.
You get all kinds of questions. Some will say, "Gee, maybe you knew my grandfather. He was over." So I try to make it as comfortable as I can. I said, it's possible maybe I did see him, maybe I didn't, but I can't remember names, you know. But you get all kinds of questions, you know. I went to Charter Oak School. You know where Charter Oak School is?
Yes, I do.
I went there when it was before the new building was built. Right on the corner where you know the Connecticut Veterans is right on the corner.
Yes.
Okay. The brick building there's a brick building that used to be a drugstore. Before the drugstore, years ago, that was a house. And that's where Charter Oak School was.
Oh, is that right?
That's where I went. My first day of school there.
Yeah.
So I went to Charter Oak, and I go there they invite me to come back. They call me Benny. You know, and I talk to the kids there. It's a wonderful school because they have from all different countries, languages, and they're integrated like that. It's amazing how they get along, and it's a great school, Charter Oak School. It really is. It's a magnet school now, you know. It's
Yes.
wonderful. It's like an academy.
Yes.
And but I look forward to telling these kids, and it's a good feeling, you know.
Yeah.
We both feel like we're doing something to help humanity, you know.
Absolutely.
And I tell the kid, well, this is very important. After my talk, I tell them a few things. Freedom is not free. You have to fight for it. It's very important. And then I tell them, I said, you know, I don't care what your religion is, or what your background is, or your culture. I said, you know, we all belong to the same race, the human race.
Yes.
We really do, when you stop to think of it. You know, just think about it, I said.
Yeah.
And I said, the other thing, if you want to feel good and make someone else feel even better, just think of this. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. Think of that. Try to do it every day, whether you open a door for someone, help someone across the street, and if you see someone in danger or needs help, as long as you don't get into harm's way yourself, try to help them. Do something to help them out. And I said, maybe in time it'll promote peace and bring back some peace to the world, if it catches on, you know? That's my message, you know?
That's nice.
And so at times I get letters from the kids, and sometimes they say, I did an act of kindness today, you know?
Thanks to you.
Which is great. At least it's getting through to some kids, you know? It's very important because life is so short, you know? And then one other thing I didn't tell you.
Okay.
10 years ago, maybe around that, at the state capitol, one of the talks, the memorial, an elderly man walked up to me and he looked at the pin. He said, I remember that. I said, why, were you there? He says, I was there with my wife. He was at the capitol now with his wife, okay, for the memorial service. He was at Dachau when we liberated the camp. I don't remember him, not at all, but we were very good friends, okay? That was 10 years ago. 4 years ago, I went to my cardiologist for a checkup. He said, I'm putting you in the hospital. I said, for what? He said, you have a blockage. Okay, so I accepted it. I had an open heart surgery for 2 blockages. The surgeon that operated on me was their son.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Now, isn't that something?
Yes.
Just to show you, Hitler was killing millions of people, and here, this fella, this couple, their son, they were in the camp,
Right.
and their son saved my life.
Absolutely. They got through it and then went on to have.
What goes around
have a son.
comes around.
Absolutely. Oh, Ben.
I think I've covered almost everything.
Ben, you ended on a perfect note. Your what is that? One act of kindness. a
Yeah,
day?
no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted.
That is wonderful. Wonderful work.
That's my motto, and that's when I was the honorary marshal. That's what I told everybody.
All right.
I said, this is my motto, and I said, I hope you live by something like that. You know. Now I've been asked one of the questions that is very important. I think I was asked, how did you manage when you came home? What about combat fatigue and all that? You know. Well, I said a lot of us came home with combat fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't go through a war in the front lines, but have something hit you like that. If you were behind the lines, it's a different story.
Yeah.
You did hear shooting and you were shot at, but when you're in the front line, you just never know when your number is up. Let's put it that way, you know. And I tell them, I said, well, you know, unfortunately, a lot of fellas, there weren't drugs around like there is now, but a lot of fellas took to drinking. I said, I never took to drinking, and luckily I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But they try to overcome it by drinking, you know, and they got into deeper trouble with it, you know. But I had it hidden here, and it bothered me. It just like festered there all the time. And I couldn't talk to anybody about it. There was no one to talk to, you know. That's why I didn't talk for 45 years. I still have the little pictures of Dachau, small pictures that my cab gave me. When I came home and I showed them to some people, oh, you know, yeah, well, probably that happened. You know, you couldn't grasp it. Right. And I couldn't talk about it, you know. But now I do. And I want people to know it happened. There was a Holocaust. And even today, look at what's going on. There's no respect for life. There's no respect for anybody's life. I know. Because people either kill for drugs, or they just kill because if you say the wrong word, or they don't like the looks of your hair, or your color, or whatever. It's crazy.
Yes, it is.
It is crazy.
Yes,
you know? And people in dire straits, they'll do anything. The people that are suicide bombers now, they're at the bottom of the ladder. What do they got to lose? They're told if they kill a million people, they'll go to heaven, they'll have virgins or something. You know, all this crap. Yeah. You know, it's terrible. Yeah. And that's why I say when you can spread a little peace around,
Absolutely.
true peace, you know, it's wonderful, you know. And
Ben,
that's
you're an amazing man.
No,
I'm
not
so
not
glad
really
I had
amazing.
the opportunity to meet you. The Veterans History Project at
Yeah.
Central Connecticut State University thanks you, and the Library of Congress thanks you, and I thank you for a very special day meeting Ben Cooper. So thank you for the interview, Ben Cooper.
Well,